everybody, and welcome to Giants Live. I'm in Sanya in southern China, where later this year the World's Strongest Man tournament will be taking place, qualifying for which happens on the Giants Live tour. Well, today we got the second stop of that from Budapest in Hungary, and featuring one of the surprise contestants in last year's World's Strongest Man, Stoke's Eddie Hall.
Hi, welcome to Giants Live.
The World's Strongest Man finals were held in Hungary in 1988. 25 years later, the nation still has a keen interest in the strongman sport, but is yet to produce a Hungarian World's Strongest Man winner. But this year, there's 2 Hungarians in the field as 10 men tackle 6 events in this historic city. The action takes place at the Ramada Aqua World, one of Europe's largest water parks on the outskirts of the city, where thousands of sun and fun seekers have come for an uplifting experience, not just the water sports, but also seeing some of the strongest men in the world in action. The athletes will be up against not just some excruciatingly difficult tasks, but also 38-degree heat. For the top men, it'll be good preparation for the kind of conditions they'll face in Sanya, China, at the World Finals. Last year, the former weightlifter and local boy Agos Nagy pulled off his first ever victory in front of a delighted crowd. He's back this year to defend his Budapest title and, more importantly, get a place in the finals in China. Before the contest started, we spoke to him on the River Danube.
In my life, I had few unbelievable big moments. One of when born my son. This is the biggest point in my life. Second, when I was junior world champion Olympic weightlifting, I will be the third biggest point in my life, biggest moment, is last year Giants Live, when I was a champion in Budapest. We try repeat last year's success.
Well, to find out who Akos is up against, let's join Paul Dickinson.
Thanks very much indeed. He's the first of them, Alen Radosevic, second in Serbia's Strongest Man this year. Mark van der Heer of Durban, third at South Africa's Strongest Man in 2013. Tamas Hajnal, second at Hungary's Strongest Man. Sergei Romanchuk of the Ukraine won this competition in the Ukraine 2 years ago. Then Alex Coletto lives in Coventry, but he's Italy's Strongest Man. And Tomi LOTTA, the veteran, competed at World's Strongest Man almost a decade ago. Then the tallest man in this contest, Michael Burke of the USA. Agos Nagy, who won Giants Live in 2012 in Budapest. And the much bigger Eddie Hall from Stoke-on-Trent, UK Strongest Man in 2011 and 2012. And finally, Bjorn SOLVANG, the smallest man in this year's contest. Well, the equipment is ready for our first event, the bus pull. The athletes are getting warmed up. Let's find out a little bit more about it from my co-commentator, Colin Bryce.
We're starting out in the car park today, as we did last year, and we've got another giant bus to pull. It weighs 17 tons, and the guys will use a harness and they will use a rope, so their entire body will be pulling and pushing. And, well, Eddie Hall, first event, it's a tough one in this heat.
God, yeah, I mean, in this heat, it's really hard. I'm topping the scales at nearly 26 stone, so this is probably going to be the worst event for me.
But at 26 stone, at that body weight, surely that helps a little?
God, yeah, it's quite a steep incline, this one, so rather than a speed event, brute power and weight's going to be a big effect in this.
Yeah, the start in particular, getting it moving, will be tough.
Among some of the early starters, we had Radosevic 25.03 for the Serbian. Alex Coletto went quicker, 23.18, good result for the Italian. Sergei Romanchuk, the quickest of the lot, 21.62, that was brilliant. Then the Finn, Tomi LOTTA, the veteran, 22.37. Tamas Hajnal, 21.78. All these results down to fractions of a second. Mark van der Heer, 23.43 for the South African. Well, here we go with Michael Burke, 2 meters. In terms of his height, body weight's pretty impressive too. Now, what about his technique? The all-important technique. He's got to stay a little bit lower and drive with those very powerful legs. A good grip. And the grip on the rope's important too, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, and he's probably got the best grip in the world. That 160 kilos of body weight gets him a good start, and now he's into almost a sprint here at the finish, just over 20.
That was very impressive indeed. 20.25, a phenomenal time for the American.
Mike, a little shaky at the start, but an awesome time, huh?
Yeah, it was a little shaky. There was a little bit more slack in the rope than I thought when I pulled on it, so it was a bad start for me, but it's a decent time, so we'll see if it holds up.
Yeah, a few more guys to go. I guess Eddie Hall might be the one to do it. He's so heavy, huh?
Oh, yeah, sure. Body weight's going to help in this, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay, well done.
Thanks.
Well, from the tallest man in the competition now to the most slender, only 118 kilos in body weight. This is going to be very tough indeed for Bjorn SOLVANG. But look at him go. Those huge arms are really working on the rope.
He did, yeah. Arms and legs working in perfect unison, keeping the rope really tight. It's going to be a solid time.
Remember, 20.25 by Michael Burke. It's going to be close as the wheels cross the line. He's just short, 20.68. And this really is down to fractions of a second. That was so close. Akos Nagy now, the Hungarian. He won this contest this time last year. Now he knows what he's got to beat, my goodness. But the weight is there, the height is there, and the strength is there too. He looks a little bit fitter than he was last year.
As he said before, Paul, he's only been in Strongman 4.5 years, coming from weightlifting where fitness really isn't a big aspect. Trying to get that rope as tight as possible for the start.
Well, that's difficult in itself, isn't it? Because the rope is very long, and as you can see there, the rope is bouncing around just a little bit. There's a tiny little slip right at the start there. That may have affected him. Short staccato steps. He's really going well, is Nagy. This is a good performance. 20.25 to beat by Burke. It's going to be close. Well, the clock didn't actually stop there, but 21.31. Not good enough. A fine time. A really good time. Actually sprinted over the last 10 meters. Eddie Hall didn't fancy his chances in this event, but at 26 stone, you've got to say he's got all the right equipment.
He does, yeah. It's just the fitness that's a worry, but the event only taking 20 seconds, I think it's a lot quicker than we all thought it was going to be. So the body weight should help at the start. Hopefully he won't run out of gas.
So real tension in the air to see if Eddie Hall can beat this phenomenal time by Michael Burke and Bjorn SOLVANG, who tore down the course as well in 20.68. Well, this is a slow and steady start, but you've got to think that this bus is accelerating. Certainly Eddie Hall is getting faster. It is quick. He's outside of the winning time. It's 21.47. Well, that's not good enough for first or second place, but it's not bad points for Eddie Hall.
Yeah. Mike Burke, no surprise, you won that. It was a great time. You thought you'd probably hold up the time, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, actually, no, I didn't, man. To tell you the truth, I was hoping it was going to hold up. It was really a bad start for me, but I'm glad it held up. So.
Well, the big surprise of the day is the little and large show, because you managed to come second, Bjorn, and obviously you're giving away a huge amount of body weight to these other guys. Surprised yourself?
I'm very surprised, actually. A little bit slow on the start, but then it came a little bit faster and faster, and I just went for it. And actually, it hold to second place, so I'm very pleased and very shocked, actually.
Great stuff. All right, well, get ready, guys. We've got overhead next.
Yeah.
Mike Burke pulling off a surprisingly tight bus pull victory with the comparatively diminutive Norwegian Bjorn SOLVANG in second. England's Eddie Hall in fourth in what was a very close set of times. After the break, it's Eddie's favourite event as we go poolside to test our strongmen's shoulders. That's coming up on Giants Live from Budapest, Hungary. Welcome back to Giants Live at Aqua World in Hungary, where temperatures are rising as Miss Bikini World Champion, local girl and massive strongman fan, Rekha Rajnov, looks to cool down a little. Thank you. Over to the equally lovely Colin Bryce.
Our next event in this incredible heat is the Viking Press. It weighs 160 kilograms, which is the equivalent of 4 Hooters girls. It's loaded up with potatoes, and the guys have to lift it up and press it overhead for as many reps as possible in 60 seconds. Now, the Viking himself, our head referee. Viking, how many reps for the win here?
I think we're going to see a world record broken because of the Hooters girl, but I think around 11, 12.
Okay, over 10 to win is what the Viking thinks.
Well, the equipment was being put ready just ahead of the first competitor, and potatoes this time. Sergei Romanchuk, not a bad effort for this man, 6 repetitions in total. Then Alan Radasovic, 4 reps for the Serbian. He was a little disappointed with that. Mark van der Heer, though, went into the lead with 7 reps, a fine effort. Then it was a big 10 for Alex Coletto. Would that be the perfect 10 for the Italian? Tamas Hasnal got 7. Good effort again from the Hungarian. So here we go. Akos Nagy, of course, who won in Budapest last year. He's got a lot to prove. And next to him, of course, is Eddie Hall. He may be a lot bigger than he was last year, but is he better? That's the important thing. And that's what we asked him yesterday, while he was on a river cruise.
For the Worlds last year, I just knew I had to put a lot of weight on. So, really knuckled down on the training, eating a lot more.
This is a starter.
There's loads of good talent here. We've got Tomi LOTTA, who's an old timer, he's been on the scene for years. Mike Burke, he's a new boy come on the scene, but he's big, he's strong. And you've also got Akos, who won it last year. So we've got a lot of competition. I reckon me and Burke are going to be fighting for and Akos fighting for #1 spot. And my favourite event is going to be the Viking Press. Obviously, I proved at the Worlds I can win that sort of event with relative ease. And I've worked even more on my power this year, so that's going to be my definite #1 event. The last couple of years of my life, I met my wife, I've got married, I've had 2 children. I've pushed onto the strongman scene, I've won the Englands, won the UKs, I've been to the Worlds. I'm really hoping, I want to knuckle down with the help from my family and my wife. I really want to knuckle down and make the world's strongest man. I want to be world's strongest man one day.
This is the Giants Live Budapest, and I'm here to win. Ah!
Well, that's fighting talk from Eddie Hall. And he's got one of the best competitors, surely, in Akos Nagy in front of his home crowd here. So this is going to be fascinating. Nagy strikes first.
Well, it's a contest between the former weightlifter on the left there, Nagy, who uses his legs. And look at Eddie Hall, all shoulder power. Just doesn't use his legs at all.
So steady Eddie is going well. This is looking good by the man from Stoke-on-Trent. Nagy is beginning to struggle just a little bit and really slowing down. Eddie Hall has taken the challenge to him and beaten him comfortably. Now, come on, Eddie, let's go. Let's go for 17, 18 and beyond. Oh, that's a superb effort by Eddie Hall. Still some competitors to come, of course. I think he liked that.
It's awesome stuff. It was a contest of the lower body power against the upper body power.
So what can Michael Burke do? I guess his height is going to be a disadvantage here. And Bjorn Andre Solvang, well, we saw what he did with the bust, despite his light body weight. But he has got phenomenally big arms. This is going to be very interesting. There's such tension out there, you can almost cut it.
Well, Bjorn Andre Solvang won this event at Norway's Strongest Man by almost double the reps of anybody else. So I expect him to be excellent at this. Burke with those long arms, as you said, biomechanical disadvantage here, but they're equal at the moment.
Solvang is very snappy on the right-hand side. The 2 judges there just telling the guys when they're allowed to put it down. This is quite impressive from Burke. 12 each and going strong.
14 each, 15 each. Goodness me, Eddie Hall 16.
Oh, that was close, but they've both got it. And that is extra pressure now. Solvang 18, Burke 18. Very solid indeed. A tremendous effort from both men. We've got new leaders. Look at the difference in stature, but the result is exactly the same.
Bjorn and Solvang sharing the win with an impressive 18 reps apiece. That final pair dishing out a body blow to Mr. Shoulders Eddie Hall, who finished third with 16, 4 ahead of Nagy. So overall, that means America's strongest man is 1 point ahead of Solvang, with Hungary's Nagy and England's Eddie Hall only a few points back from the leaders. Things are looking tight at the Aqua World.
Event 3 is indeed super yoke. 400 kilograms has to be lifted up on your back and then run 20 meters up the course. They'll drop it, turn around and stagger 20 meters back. 400 kilograms, that's a heck of a weight. That's 880 pounds. That's the equivalent of 10 of our girls. 60 seconds to complete it.
Well, part of the secret of yoke carry is all about the preparation, and every one of our competitors being immaculate in terms of what they're doing. Alen Radosevic, he completed 20 meters, so not a bad start. Mark van der Heer, 53.10 seconds, the first man to establish a time, but then it got quicker. Sergei Romanchuk, the Ukrainian, setting the standard. Alex Koleto, solid all the time, 35.35. Tamás Hajnal of Hungary, 22.94, flew down the course. Ákos Nagy now hasn't really come to life so far in the contest, and he's got Eddie Hall up against him. And Hall at the moment is in a very strong position in 4th place, equal on points with Nagy, so this is a bit of a grudge contest as well. Here we go, and it's Nagy who gets away the quicker of the two.
Incredibly quick. Coming up towards the halfway mark, 20 meters, under 10 seconds, but Hall, who's normally very immobile, is doing well too.
Yeah, Hall's stride pattern there is a little bit staccato, a little bit dodgy, but it's not bad, is it? 21.56. That, in the end, is an excellent time. Nagy, 20.69, he takes the lead. Excellent performance by the Hungarian. Eddie Hall looks a little bit nonplussed. Nagy, absolutely delighted, really, for the first time in this contest. So Bjorn Andre Solvang now, he really is up against it on this one. Body weight may well be a big difference. Michael Burke, he's certainly got the body weight, 165 kilos at 6'5" 3/4 tall. This is going to be hard. So on the one hand, you've got a man who's light in stature, and then you've got this other very tall man who gets away very quickly. Michael Burke it is who's in the lead.
Goodness me, what an athlete. Now it was 9 seconds for Nagy at the turn. It's 9 for Burke too, but he's a bit slow in the turnaround.
Yeah, Solvang is really struggling. Burke has got to keep the pressure on. Can he keep going? Yes, he can. And that looks perilously close to 20 points something. Solvang struggling down the course. And I'm surprised, but he is really, really hurting here.
You've got to remember just how light he is. This isn't far off 4 times body weight for him. 36.93, not a bad time, really, considering it was so heavy.
What about Michael Burke's time? It's 21.85. I was being a bit optimistic there, so not as fast as I thought. Solvang really suffering at the end. Wants all of those wraps off very, very quickly. Michael Burke just standing there going, what's going on, guys? But Solvang it is, who finishes, but finishes a little bit in distress. Radosevic there just helping him out, but I'm sure he's going to go away and sit in the shade just to recover.
Ákos Nagy grabbing the win in the yoke race and getting the home crowd fired up with it. Surprising second place there for Eddie Hall, who's had to work very hard at his mobility. Overall then, Nagy and Hall move up to 2nd and 3rd place respectively. Mike Burke still has the lead by 2.5 points from his Hungarian rival, but let's hear now from a rather delighted Ákos.
Of course, you're giving the crowd what they want. They want you to win again. That's actually your first event win in a Giants Live, right?
Right, yeah. This is my dream come true as well. It's totally same as last year, but on the last year I don't won any event.
Just the overall?
Yeah, just the overall. Yeah. One of my goal, I wanna won this event. It will come true today.
Wow, and you beat Burke. I mean, it was all tight there within 1 second.
Yeah, he's so close. We fight together with Eddie Hall. Eddie Hall is an incredible, great fighter. I really like Eddie. And this audience is also very suggestive and very motivated me.
Good stuff. Well, good luck with the next 3 events.
Thank you.
So we're at the halfway point in this World's Strongest Man qualifier in Budapest. And while the mercury hits 40 degrees and the strongmen take a break, Miss Rekha Rajnal demonstrates the skills that made her Miss Bikini World Champion. Three more events to come. To tell us what's next, it's back to Colin Bryce.
It's just getting hotter and hotter here. Competition and the temperature. It's over 40 degrees now. And these guys have to deal with 350 kilograms of car. They have to lift it in 60 seconds for as many reps as possible. 350 kilos, Eddie. How many reps are possible here?
God, 350 kilos. We're looking in double figures here. Possibly even, up to 20 reps, right? Maybe.
Well, in 60 seconds, that would be phenomenal going. That would be 1 rep every 3 seconds. Let's see what happens.
Well, Alan Radosovic of Serbia got us underway with just 4 repetitions. Sergei Romanchuk getting closer. He got 11. That was a good result. Tamas Hashnal really struggled. He only got the single lift. Mark van der Heer, though, looked more like it. 15 reps in total for the South African. Alex Coletto, the Italian, always solid. He got 12. So here we go. Bjorn Andre Solvang, second at Norway's Strongest Man competition, but that is good. He's up against Eddie Hall on the right-hand side. And Hall has been very solid indeed in the first couple of events.
Well, Eddie Hall's got to be careful there. I think he's just bouncing his reps. He's using the suspension. You're not allowed to do that.
Well, he's already had a couple of lifts disqualified. But Hall on 9, Solvang on 7, now 8. And both are progressing quite nicely. And this is more like it. Both men into double figures. And Hall all of a sudden has come to a grinding halt, but manages to squeeze 1 more out. Solvang is really struggling now. Steady Eddie keeps it going for Great Britain.
Hall's gone into the lead then, 16, 17, extending his lead.
Oh, this is tremendous by Eddie Hall. He's short of the pace that he set himself, saying he could do 20. And the clock is about to stop at 19 for Eddie Hall. Bjorn Andre Solvang confirmed at 16 reps. That's an excellent result. But Eddie Hall only 17. It's dropped down a couple of reps from what we saw originally. Nevertheless, it's a good result for the Briton.
I think that was a fair cop, really, having a couple of reps taken away there. He was using the suspension to bounce it off the floor and catching it as it was coming back up again. That's not allowed.
But he set the target for everybody else to follow now, including Michael Burke. So let's find out a little bit more about this genial American.
Mike Burke from Denver, Colorado, 2 meters, 160 kilos, and I am America's Strongest Man. You know, I was playing some semi-pro football back in Colorado, and I tore my labrum, I blew out my shoulder, and I just happened to join a gym when I was after surgery, when I went to rehab it, and ran into some guys, and started competing at the amateur level, and I won my first show, and kind of got hooked on the sport. Got to compete in World's Strongest Man for my first time, which I was happy about. I wasn't happy about how I did. I was hoping to make the finals in my first year, but you know, it's been a good year for me. I've gotten stronger, I've gotten more experience in the sport, and I'm happy about that. I come to win. I mean, that's what you do in a competition. in the future, same as always, I want to make the finals at Worlds. I just turned 39 a couple days ago. I'm getting up there in age, but I still got a few years left in me.
So here we go with Akos Nagy. He's next to go, the defending champion here in Budapest. Just getting strapped onto the equipment, which is always important. The grip is absolutely vital. Alongside Michael Burke, here we go. So Nagy draws first blood. But it's 2 each, and these two will go great guns, I'm sure.
You always expect a former weightlifter to have a great deadlift, and Nagy does. But Burke's one tough character. Again, despite his height, he can overcome. Deadlift shouldn't be good for really, really tall men, but he's just so hard, so tough, Burke. 10 apiece at the moment.
Well, Michael Burke looks absolutely determined to hang on to a really solid placing in this event. Nagy just wants to keep going. He struck for gold in the last event. He just struggled on that repetition. He's a single repetition ahead of Burke. Everybody way behind what Eddie Hall achieved in this event. Not sure anybody's going to get that. There's 4 seconds to go. It's 14 all. And there you have it, all tied up, equal on 14. That's a good result for both fellas. Michael Burke 14, Akos Nagy 14. It does not get any closer than that. So first victory for Eddie Hall of Great Britain, despite the fact he was actually docked a couple of reps.
Head referee, Mr. Carlson, you took some reps off of Eddie there. What was that for, bouncing?
Yes, he was bouncing a few of those reps, so I had to take him away in the end.
They call it a deadlift, and you have to go from a dead start. Eddie, are you unhappy with that?
No, that's fair enough. I didn't know, to be honest, I didn't realise I was doing it, but as soon as Sven said stop bouncing, I stopped bouncing, so, you know, what more can I do?
Eddie Hall gets his first win, 17 reps, one ahead of SOLVANG van der Haar of South Africa, gets third with 15. So we have a tie at the top now. Hall and Mike Burke level on 34 points. Nagy and SOLVANG in third place on 31.5, and then a big drop down to 5th. So it looks like a 4-horse race for those 3 qualifying places, and after the break, it's the weight for height event, something that neither Burke nor Hall have ever competed in. That's next on Giants Live. Welcome back to Giants Live. Round 2 of the World's Strongest Man qualifying tour, coming to you from Budapest, Hungary. Just 2 events to go to decide the top 3 strongmen who will get the golden tickets to the World Finals in China. Now over to Colin Bryce to tell us more about the next event.
Our penultimate event is the weight for height. This 25-kilogram lead-filled lump of steel has to be thrown over the bar up there. Alongside me is Reika, a world fitness champion. Reika, how heavy are you?
Well, I'm 48 kilos now.
48 kilograms. Well, this is over half the weight of you. In fact, it's the equivalent of a 5-year-old child. The height of that, a double-decker bus. And it'll go up and up until no one is left in the contest.
Well, there were some early casualties. Alan Radosevic there at the Serbian, his best height 4 meters, along with Alex Coletta of Italy, who went 20 centimeters higher. The same height as Tamas Hasnal of Hungary, 4.2 meters. Eddie Hall prowling around in the background there, just getting ready to take his next attempt. He's had 3 attempts so far as the UK strongest man, twice in a row. So good performances for the Stoke-on-Trent fella. Here we go, 4.8 meters for Eddie, and this is getting higher and higher as time goes on. This has turned out to be a long competition. Here we go, and just good effort by Eddie Hall. This event, of course, has its roots in Scottish Highland Games. That's a far cry from Akos Nagy. But here we go, same height as Eddie, and unfortunately doesn't get it. So has to go again. He's got plenty of time left, but he just needs to compose himself now. Come on, let's have some support for the local guy. This is 25 kilos. And there's a bit of endurance coming into it now, does not get it. So his best height, 4.4 meters. Michael Burke now. He's halfway there, isn't he, being 2 meters tall. This should be easy.
Well, he looked great in round 3 at 4.4 meters. Cleared that by almost a meter, maybe more.
Oh, my goodness, that was massive. That was absolutely superb. 4.8 meters for him. Well, Mark van der Heer looks as though he's one of the most relaxed people in this arena. But this is where it's going to get serious now. Just composes himself before he picks up that giant weight. It's got to be one-handed, remember, and that's what makes it so difficult. And it's long, but he fails it, and that means his best so far is 4.4 meters.
He'll get his second attempt. He has to take it back to back, so no time to recover here. Just shakes off his arm there. Come on, Mark. Just about had the height, just went under the bar. And it's better, but he doesn't get the depth to the throw either. So 4.4 meters is the best attempt for Mark van der Heer. The smile has disappeared. Now SOLVANG. The Norwegian really needs something special here if he's going to achieve 4.8 meters. I think the most noticeable thing there, 1.8 meters tall, he's giving away 20 centimeters to Burke and probably another 10 centimeters on his arm length as well. Makes it hard.
It's not bad. Oh my goodness. It just about crawled over the top of the bar. That was just short. That was a shame, really, wasn't it? It was so close after a massive effort.
Yeah, and he's looking at his hand. Oh no, he's taken a chunk of skin off it. That's really going to put him off now. He must put that out of his mind just for a second here.
Well, he's got mighty arms, that's for sure. And, oh, same sort of thing. Couldn't quite do it, so his best remains at 4 meters 40. Well, we're battening down the hatches here. They're actually putting the bar up in terms of height. But just getting the equipment ready for Eddie Hall. And one spectator is going to be very happy. Very cold glass of beer there. Now, what can Eddie Hall do here? The world record, incidentally, for this is just over 18.5 feet. 5 meters 80 or thereabouts. And this is 5 meters 20. So it gives you some idea of the difference in standard of the world's very best. But mental preparation is so important for an event like this, isn't it?
But it's just a split second of explosive power. Every single muscle fiber you can use must be used. Come on, Eddie.
It's got to be big. Oh, it just went underneath that time. Now, is he going to attempt a second one? I don't think he is. So 5:20, and a lot of the performers here are just finding it a little bit difficult in terms of the amount of wear and tear it's putting their hands under.
Just getting a little help from Sergei Romanchuk. Taped up, back out he goes. He's going to give it another attempt. He really cracked the underside of that bar hard. I think he's got the power here if he can get the angle.
Well, he's got to have the power, hasn't he? He's absolutely dripping in sweat. It's still incredibly hot and humid here. So here we go, Eddie Hall of Great Britain. Oh, that's a good effort, my goodness. Couldn't quite do it, so his best remains at 4 meters 80. So here goes Michael Burke of the United States. And if this attempt is anything like the attempt he made at 4 meters 80, it's going to go sailing over. His own personal height is a big advantage, and he does it again. That's absolutely superb.
Well, they've just raised the bar to 6 meters. The world record is 5.87 meters with a 25 kilo weight. That was done by Misha Koklaev back in South Africa 3 years ago. That is 13 centimeters higher. Sadly, we had to go that high to attempt the world record. Well, let's talk to the man who's about to do it, Mike Burke, who is going into spasm, I think, on the floor. You all right, Mike?
Yeah, I'm good. It's really hot here, and I'm cramping bad. I didn't drink enough, is what it's coming down to. So.
But I mean, this is a massive increase. Do you really fancy your chances here?
I wish I wasn't cramping. I think I'd have a better chance. But I'll give it hell. We'll see how it goes.
All right, good luck.
Thanks, Colin.
Well, that's certainly the right attitude from Michael Burke, but this would be a phenomenal achievement. 6 meters. He's already won the competition, but this would be for a new world record. Oh, it looked as though it could have been, but it's gone away to the right-hand side. But that is a big victory for Michael Burke, ahead of Eddie Hall of Great Britain.
Ahead of that last height. It looked like you had the power, but it was slipping out. Something's gone wrong with the fingers, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I've absolutely destroyed my skin on my hand, basically. I mean, I had the power. I reckon it would have gone up if I hadn't hit the bar. You know, I've been practicing it really hard, so it's just one of them things. Can't do anything about it now.
To be fair, Mike Burke was pretty impressive.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely got more height than me. That's probably because he's about 10 foot higher.
Big Mike Burke just missing a world record in the weight for height, but he does get the win, with Eddie Hall in second, Nagy, Solvang and Van der Haar in third. Mike Burke, 1 point ahead overall then of Eddie Hall. Eddie bidding to become the second British athlete ever to win a Giants Live International. But to do that, he must best America's strongest man. The big showdown is coming up after the break.
Welcome everybody here in Budapest in the Aqua World. That's the Giants Live. Enjoy the competition and the Strongman with me.
Job done. Just one more event for the men to face. Over to Colin to hear about the deciding discipline.
So it's down to the final event, and it is the rock lift. 4 massive, oddly shaped rocks weighing 125, 135, 150, and 160 kilograms have to be lifted onto these platforms. Well, the big rock at the end there is Mike Burke. He's in the lead on 44 points. Eddie, 1 point behind, and 5 points back. Right now, the battle for third between Akos and Bjorn. But anyone can still win, and one of them will not be on the podium and will not get a ticket to World's Strongest Man.
Well, they are certainly the contenders. These guys, unfortunately, are the also-rans. Mark van der Haar, 4 rocks, but over 48 seconds. Alex Coletta was a lot quicker, 28.05. Tamas Hasnau, he got 4 rocks as well, in the quickest time so far, 23.4. Akos Nagy now, and this is where it's all going to happen. This has got to be one of the best performances of his life. Number 1 goes up very quickly.
Well, you'd imagine Nagy would have trained on these rocks. Oh, he's made a bit of a goof for that second one, though.
Well, rock lifting is traditional in Hungary. And the Hungarians, it seems superfluous to say it, but they're supposed to be good at this. So can Nagy get rock number 4 up? It's not going to be particularly quick, but he does it. And that is important. 4 rocks in 30.31. And so that is what has to be beaten.
Well, it'll be all down to what Bjorn does now for that 3rd place position.
So here we go. This for not only a 3rd place, but a trip to China for the World's Strongest Man contest. Look at the 2 guys here just hanging on to this platform. That was good. That was very good by Solvang. Just took a little bit of time out of the contest with that 3rd one, and this looks as though it could be quicker as well. Keep your eye on the clock. It's got to be fast. He's just having problems with that first part of the lift, and he gets it. That is brilliant from Solvang. 23.31. And that means that Nagy may not, we've got to wait for the last 2 to go, but may not make the trip to China. Brilliant performance by Solvang, though. He's definitely going. So here goes Eddie Hall of Great Britain. Now, just to give you a clue as to who's done what so far, Bjorn SOLVANG, 23.31, and Tamas Hasnal, if it comes to that, 23.40. That's going good.
Third stone, just a bit of a fumble there. And we know Burke's a great stone lifter. Eddie has to get this last stone up. One good movement.
So last stone, and it's good. That was very good. Oh, it almost fell off again, but 26.46 seconds. Well, that fourth one was very impressive. You can see the rest of them going, bouncing around all over the place, and you've got to take your hands off as quickly as you possibly can. It's all down to Burke of the USA, and this is quick, my goodness. He's throwing those rocks up there.
That's outrageous. They look like polystyrene rocks the way he's manhandling them up.
Oh, that was so quick, 16.4 seconds. That was almost apologetic by Burke. Yeah, he is the man. Make no mistake about it. Michael Burke, that is a huge margin of victory over everybody else. 16.4 seconds. Bjorn SOLVANG it was who took second. And Tamas Hasnal in third, with Eddie Hall of England in fourth. But there we have the overall leaderboard. Michael Burke of the USA, 54 points. Eddie Hall with 50. And Bjorn SOLVANG of Norway makes the final at his very first attempt.
Bjorn, still a young man, second big international, but appears you got the power and the confidence to pull it off. You're going to World's Strongest Man. What a great day this must be for you.
Yeah, but it's I never dreamed of this, so I just decided to do the best I can with what I got and take one each event at a time, and it paid off very well today. I'm going to Worlds, so I'm very excited.
Well, here are our trophies and, of course, our medals for all the participants. But what about the winners, Michael Burke and Eddie Hall?
Eddie Hall, second place. You can't be unhappy with that, surely.
No, not at all. I mean, when I heard Mike Burke was in the lineup, I pretty much knew it was going to be between me and him all along. So it's a close one in the end. I think if my hand wasn't so bad, I might have picked him.
There's got to be an excuse there, Mike. Hey, congratulations, first of all. Major international, big win here in Hungary. I guess it feels pretty good, huh?
Yeah, it feels great. It was awesome. I've had a great time here. Going back to Worlds, that's what I'm happy about. That's what I came here for. There was some great competition. I knew Eddie was going to be tough, but you know, if his hand wasn't hurt, it might have been a better deal for him. So.
Mike, I always ask this when guys win Giants Live, straight up, can you win World's Strongest Man?
No, I can't win World's Strongest Man. I know that, but if I can get in the top 5, I'd be happy. I think I can do that.
Well, Michael Burke certainly was very, very impressive indeed. And he is our champion here in Budapest. And what a worthy champion he has been. Well, certainly time to cool off here. It's been a brutal day in terms of the weather. Giants Live does it again.
What a great day then for Eddie Hall, who books his place here in Sanya at the World's Strongest Man finals. Hopefully we'll be seeing a few more English athletes joining him at our next event on the Giants Live qualifying tour. It comes from Leeds, England, and it is Europe's Strongest Man. See you for that then next time.